Phoenix is one of the fastest growing cities in America. Billions of dollars are pouring in. High-paying tech jobs are flooding the desert. New neighborhoods are rising almost overnight, pushing farther and farther into the sand. On the surface, it looks like success. But at the same time, something unsettling is happening beneath it all. The heat is getting deadlier. The water is getting tighter. And for the first time in its modern history, Phoenix has quietly started saying no. Not to everyone, but to certain places, certain projects, certain people. This is a city breaking records for opportunity and danger at the exact same time. And the most uncomfortable part isn't how extreme the weather is becoming. It's how clearly Phoenix is beginning to choose who gets protected as conditions worsen. Because behind the palm trees, the blue skies, and the promise of endless growth, Phoenix is being forced to confront a truth most cities try to outrun. This city was never supposed to exist like this. And to understand why that matters now, you have to go back to the moment Phoenix decided it could outsmart the desert. Phoenix didn't grow slowly. It didn't evolve over centuries the way most major cities did. In 1940, it was a small desert town of just over 65,000 people, sitting in the Sonoran Desert, one of the hottest and driest regions in North America. No massive rivers nearby, no natural water surplus, no obvious reason millions of people would ever settle there. And yet, within a single lifetime, Phoenix exploded into a sprawling metro area of nearly 5 million people. That kind of growth wasn't natural, it was engineered. Air conditioning changed everything. Summers stopped feeling like a threat and started feeling manageable. Developers looked at the endless flat land surrounding the city and saw opportunity. Suburbs spread outward. Wide roads replaced dirt paths. Swimming pools and golf courses appeared where desert once dominated. The environment didn't shape the city. The city tried to overpower the environment. For decades, it worked. People kept arriving, businesses followed. Phoenix became a symbol of modern ambition, proof that technology could make even the most hostile places livable. But the desert never disappeared. It was only covered up. Phoenix grew on borrowed comfort, borrowed water, and borrowed time. Every new house, every new parking lot, every mile of asphalt added stress to a system that was already fragile. The desert wasn't defeated, it was ignored, and the consequences didn't arrive in one dramatic moment. They crept in quietly, starting with water. Phoenix's growth depended on one thing more than anything else: water. But the water it relied on was never as secure as it appeared. In 1922, long before Phoenix became a major city, 7 states divided up the Colorado River, the lifeline of the American Southwest. The agreement was supposed to guarantee stability. Instead, it locked the region into a long-term mistake. They guessed, and that guess would quietly shape everything that came next. Using limited data from an unusually wet period, planners assumed the river carried far more water than it realistically could. On paper, the numbers worked. In reality, they never did. For decades, no one noticed. Massive dams rose, reservoirs filled, farms spread across desert land that was never meant to be green. Cities like Phoenix expanded as if the water supply would always keep up. Then the legal structure made everything worse. Western water rights reward whoever arrived first. Agriculture secured senior claims, locking in priority access. Even today, farms consume the majority of Arizona's water, while cities fight over what remains. As Phoenix grew, it wasn't just sharing water, it was competing for it under rules written a century earlier, based on bad assumptions and blind optimism. Then the climate changed the equation. Snowpack in the Rockies began shrinking. Heat increased evaporation. The Colorado River weakened year after year. Reservoir levels dropped to historic lows. Officials started openly discussing scenarios that once sounded unthinkable. That's when the illusion finally cracked. Phoenix wasn't built on a stable foundation. It was built on a river that was quietly disappearing. And as the water declined, another threat surged forward. One you didn't need data to notice. You could feel it. Phoenix isn't just hot, it's unevenly unbearable. Maps of surface temperatures tell the story instantly. Certain neighborhoods glow hotter than others. Lay poverty data on top, and the overlap is impossible to ignore. The hottest parts of the city are also the poorest. But listen to this. That isn't coincidence. It's design. Wealthier neighborhoods have trees, shade, and spacing. Poorer areas are dominated by pavement, wide roads, and a lack of canopy. Freeways, rail lines, and industrial zones trap heat and hold it overnight. In these neighborhoods, the heat doesn't fade after sunset. It lingers. For people without reliable transportation, strong air conditioning, or stable housing, relief is limited or non-existent. Heat-related illnesses and deaths are rising, striking the same communities again and again. Not because of personal choices, but because of where people live. Phoenix didn't just grow fast, it grew unevenly. And as summers push past new records, the city is learning a brutal lesson. Climate pressure follows lines of income, infrastructure, and neglect. The desert didn't do this alone. Phoenix amplified it, because the city itself was designed to trap heat. Phoenix didn't accidentally become hotter. It was built that way. Wide streets, low, flat buildings, endless parking lots, very little shade. Acres of dark pavement absorb sunlight all day and release heat well into the night. This isn't a highway system. It's the basic city grid. Surface-level fixes like reflective roofs and lighter pavement help a little, but studies show they barely move the needle. What actually makes a difference is simple: trees. Neighborhoods with tree cover can be several degrees cooler. In a dry climate, shade doesn't just feel better, it can be life-saving. But here's the catch. Outside of parks and major roads, Phoenix doesn't maintain most of its trees. Residents do. That means watering costs, maintenance, and responsibility fall on individuals, many of whom can't afford any of it. In low-income areas, most residents are renters. They don't own the land or the trees, yet they're expected to absorb higher water bills just to make their streets survivable. So the neighborhoods that need cooling the most are the least able to provide it. Heat wasn't just designed into Phoenix. Responsibility was shifted there too. And just as the city struggled to cool itself, Phoenix made a choice that raised the stakes even higher. As water tightened and heat intensified, Phoenix made a bold decision. It doubled down. Semiconductor giants like Intel and TSMC committed tens of billions of dollars to build massive chip factories in the desert. These facilities power smartphones, AI systems, vehicles, and modern weapons. Geopolitically, Phoenix became essential. But here's the part almost no one talks about. Chip manufacturing uses enormous amounts of water. Even with recycling systems, these plants draw millions of gallons every day. At the exact moment, Phoenix's water future is uncertain. Officials say it's manageable. Companies promise efficiency. Critics aren't convinced, because these facilities pull from the same stressed system as everyone else. And unlike residents, they're considered untouchable. When a city becomes strategically valuable, priorities shift. Rules bend, resources move, sacrifices stop being equal. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If Phoenix has to choose between economic power and everyday residents, who wins? Because once water became limited, Phoenix began deciding who gets to stay. Phoenix hasn't stopped growing, it's become selective. Arizona has started freezing housing development in areas that can't prove a 100-year water supply. The reason isn't politics. It's math. Wealthier, well-connected areas keep building. Cheaper outer communities, where working-class families look for affordable housing, are cut off first. Growth doesn't end, it shifts. Meanwhile, the hottest neighborhoods face fewer investments, less shade, and fewer escape routes. This is how climate pressure reshapes cities, not through collapse, but through quiet exclusion. Phoenix isn't forcing people out, it's making life easier for some and harder for others. And when conservation isn't enough, cities start reaching for extreme ideas. That's when Phoenix started looking toward the sea. Proposals emerged to build massive desalination plants and pipe ocean water hundreds of miles into the desert. The idea sounded bold, even visionary, but it's more complicated than that. The cost was enormous, billions up front, massive energy demand, environmental damage, and water so expensive it would permanently change who could afford to live in Phoenix. Desalination wouldn't remove the limits. It would delay them and push the consequences somewhere else. Expensive water doesn't spread evenly. It flows toward money and power. It wouldn't save all of Phoenix. It would save the parts deemed worth saving. And that's when the story stops being just about heat or water. Phoenix isn't about to vanish. There won't be a dramatic collapse. No abandoned skyline swallowed by sand. Instead, the city is changing quietly. Water still flows, more carefully. Growth continues, more selectively, and heat rises unevenly. Phoenix is becoming a preview of the future, a world where cities don't fail outright but reorganize around protection, wealth, and influence. Once Phoenix proved humans could build anywhere, now it's proving something else. When nature pushes back, not everyone gets protected. Phoenix will survive, but the version that survives will be more controlled, more expensive, and more divided. The question isn't whether Phoenix can endure the heat and water shortages, it's who gets to stay comfortable when it does, because Phoenix isn't dying, it's deciding. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you've made it this far.